We are live for another episode, but this time I'm having one of my dear Instagram followers join me on tonight's live. It's actually a live that I've been wanting to do with her, with this specific girl, for a long time. But every time I try to set up a live, something comes up and I'm not able to do it. But tonight, with all the little background obstacles that almost made the show not go on, we're still making it happen. So let me see if she joined us, and then we're going to begin, and I will introduce her, and we will go live. Important discussion. Without further ado, with the magic of Instagram Live, we have tonight with us Osnat. Can you see her? Because I am not able to see her. It looks like this is a problem already for the second time in a row. I was not able to see Avi last time, and I'm not able to see Osnat this time. Osnat, can you see me?
I could see you. Do you hear me?
I hear you, but again, I cannot see you, and I wasn't able to see Osnat
Mm.
either last time. I'm gonna have to borrow my husband's phone because I want to see you on the screen. She can be seen. Okay, can I borrow your phone, Zalman? So I will put you down on another device so that I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Here we go.
Okay, no
Since
problem.
everyone else is able to see you, I am so happy that everyone else can see you. Now I can see myself as well. I want to introduce you. Your name is Osnat. Osnat, tell me, actually, I myself want to get to know you, so I can't even get to introduce you. That sounded funny. Tell me, please,
That's
you
okay.
reached out to me when I made a post and I said, who wants to go live with me? You reached out to me a while ago and you said, I would like to go live with you. And then I asked you, what topic would you like to discuss? And you have a very important topic in mind. Tell me, please, the topic you want to talk about tonight and why you feel that this topic is so important for us to bring awareness to the community as a whole.
So the topic I wanted to discuss is very, near and dear to me. It's a topic that I feel is very necessary in our community to bring awareness about. So the topic is about, infertility. It's about pregnancy loss. It's about conceiving. Everything in that realm, I guess you could say. Um, and it was something that was bothering me for quite some time that I feel like the community in a whole is not raising awareness about. And when you were posting and you're saying like, if anybody wants to go live or anything, I don't think like I thought really deep into it. I just kind of jumped on and I said, let's talk about this topic. And then, when it really was happening, I said, oh wow, like, it was like Mira Shamayim. And then, like you said, there were obstacles in the way and things of that nature, so I didn't pursue it and things like that. So now I guess came the time from Hashem and and here
So
we
that's
are.
a very, I agree with you 100%. That's a very important topic, okay? Infertility, pregnancy loss, super, super important topic. And I want to ask you, is there, now I don't know if this is very personal, but I think it's worth asking this question. Are you
Mhm.
comfortable sharing this topic because you've been through something like this yourself?
So the level of being comfortable is definitely hard for me. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm taking like I guess a leap of faith and I'm doing it and getting out there. Many people in the community knew, it wasn't a secret, but Baruch Hashem, a million times with Hashem's help, Baruch Hashem, my husband and I were blessed with two kids. Um, we had a pregnancy, like, a stillborn on the way, but Baruch Hashem, I had, two children. And a lot of people that knew in the community that I was going through it would reach out to me and like, hey, I was like, can I speak to you? Someone told me, give me your number. And they said you're very open about this topic and things like that. So like girls would reach out to me a lot. And the things that they would share with me and the things that, they're going through would really, really like bring pain to me, like to my heart. And I'm like, how can I put a stop to this? Like, how can I help them all? Like it's one thing, they're going through it and they're, in pain themselves. And it's another thing to add on to their pain. And that's where I felt like, someone has to do something about this.
How long were you not able to have a child for?
So this is a tricky question. With with my,
The
this is
longest
my
time
second
frame.
marriage. Yeah, so with my first marriage, it was 4 years I was married, and I didn't conceive. But Baruch Hashem, with my current marriage, it was somewhere between like I would say a year, and Baruch Hashem, I conceived my daughter.
So there was
Um,
a time in your life, 4 years is a quite some, it is a long time. So there was a time, that's why I'm asking specifically,
mhm,
regardless of which marriage, is just you had a time in your life where you really struggled getting pregnant.
yeah,
And this was very, very difficult for you. And there are situations that you remember, from briefly from the time we spoke before the live, there were situations that you yourself went through personally that you could remember that really you wish that people out there were made aware of, because you know how hard it was for you to have gone through that
mhm,
at that time. And that's why you think it's so important tonight to talk about it, because you've been through that. You
yeah,
experienced the challenge of being that woman that could not get pregnant, and bad enough you couldn't get pregnant, it was society pressure that made the situation even worse for you. Is that correct?
yes, 100%, yeah.
Now, if you were to give a message for people who are watching, I'm going to ask you two questions. Question number one, for those who are dealing with infertility themselves, for those who are struggling themselves, what can you tell those women as a word of inspiration for somebody who's been through this? What can you tell that lady who's going through that? What message can you share with her?
So there's not only one thing I would tell them, there's a couple of things I would say. One thing I would say is that at that time, at that time when I was going through it and people would say it to me, it was a comforting. But now that I'm, Baruch Hashem, I guess you could say, it's behind me and I'm saying it, I understand now what people meant. So what I want to say is when I was going through it, people used to be like, Osna, you're not alone. Oh, I know a girl that's married for 10 years, she has no kids. I know a girl that's married for 15 years and has no kids. Like those things weren't comforting to me. That would make me even more upset. Like Hashem, why should I feel comfort in her Sarah, like in her? It just didn't feel comforting for me at that time. But when I say it now to these girls, what I mean is that you're not alone and you should reach out to these girls. Try to get yourself maybe like a community of girls that are going through the same, you know, challenge in life and kind of, get together. Because sometimes when you're going through a challenge like this, you feel like you're alone, even though you're not alone, because you and your partner, your husband, your spouse is in it with you. So what I would also recommend is that try to bond with him. Try to get through this challenge together. It's not just a challenge that you're going through alone. And that was something that I did. It was a big mistake that I did was I would just eat myself. I would say I'm the fault. It's all about me, me, me. And I wouldn't even think like my husband's also going through it. It may be also him. So it's very important to take this challenge and take it as a partnership together, to work together as opposed to working, you know,
You are
like,
so right. You have such, you're so, so right.
working together as opposed to working, against each other. And it's a challenge that you're going through together that Hashem gave you, didn't wish this upon yourself, didn't wish it upon your husband, obviously. And blaming also is another thing. Like, I would not blame anybody. Even if the doctors say it's the male factor or it's the female factor that you're having infertility, don't blame that person that's having, the issue. Be there for them, support them, hold their hand. I'm here for you, no matter what. Words of like of just words of like compassion. Be compassionate to that person, you know? Like, it's upsetting, it's hurtful, you know? Yeah, it's like, you know, because of whatever it is, we're not having children or whatever, you know, chas v'shalom. So I see a lot of girls that do call me and they say like they think it's me, my in-laws think it's me and it's not. I went to so many doctors, I did so many tests, I did all these exams they do to you, and these exams are sometimes painful. These exams take a toll on you. It's very, very like heavy to be going through all this, you know, and while you're doing it, to get more pressure, to get more, you know, being questioned, being interrogated, being blamed, you know, being looked
Well, that
at.
brings me to my second question. What would you tell
Yeah.
the mother-in-law or the parent of the child, whether this is for the guy or the girl, what should they not do when they see that the children are not having a child for a while, they're not able to conceive? What should these parents not say or not do at that time?
So this is difficult because not saying anything, I don't think, you know, is the right thing to do. And not being too intrusive and too many questions and too many, you know, is also not a good thing to do. So, you know, for me, what I would say is bless them. Bless them. One thing I appreciate, you know, in my mother-in-law, honestly, was she always just blessed me. She blessed me to have children every time we were like sitting by Shabbat, every time, but she would never ask me questions. She would never say like, Mitchell, like, did you go to your doctor? Oh, did you check yourself? Oh, is it you or is it my son? Who is it? Which one of you? Like, no one really cares who it is, you know? Just bless them. Bezrat Hashem, it should be you. Bezrat Hashem, one day you're gonna have a kid, you know? And this is what I appreciated in her was that there was no questions, there was no pressure, there was nothing of that sort. It was just blessings, you know? And
I love
whenever it
that.
happens, it happens, you know? And it happens to be that she's a very God-fearing person, but she's not like one of those from people, you know? She just always blessed me to have children, and I always appreciated her for that, you know? There was always support. There was always like, it will happen, you know? She used to say in Bukhari, like, Mesha, Mesha, you know? Like, Pur budite, you know? Like, she just always gave you that boost of confidence that like one day you're going to be a mom, you know? So I think that's so important to just bless your children, you know, support them as much as you could, you know, and give them the boost of confidence. And that's just like my main, you know, my main thing is that it's not blaming each other. It's not saying it's you, it's me, it's me. What does it give you to do that? You're both still upset at each other. You're still in pain. You're not changing anything, you know? And and another thing this also brings me to is being open, if need be, to go to the doctor.
Mhm.
Many men in our community, they're not open to it. Me? What? Like it almost like you're touching their like, I don't know what. But it's also you. You want to have a child also, right? I can't go have a kid on my own with the air. It has to be you with me, you know?
So you mean like the spouse should also be willing to go to the doctor? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah. Also be tested if need be. Whatever it is the doctors are asking, you know, there's a lot of halachos on this. There's a lot of questions that, you know, you have to ask a das, you know, a rabbi. You know, you should definitely have all the support that you need to have. But at the same time, you know, you need to do it as a partnership. And I can't stress this anymore. It must be with a partner. It cannot be the girl doing it on her own. It just can't be possible because, like I'm saying, girls do it. They take the medications, they're doing everything they have to do, and you're still not conceiving. But when you're asking the spouse, can you go, you know, see and just, we're not saying you're at fault. We're not anything. We just need to cover all our grounds, you know, to be able to make this a successful story. But some men are just against it. And then this is when things go really hard on the girl because she's like, I'm doing everything I could from my side. I need your input. I need you there, you know? And I think it's
Torah
very,
said
very
something very
important.
smart. She said, "You do your part, Hashem will do the rest." Yes, exactly. Hishtadlus. We all have to do our part, and like Osnat is saying, that part is also going to the doctor. That is our part. praying, that is our part, you know, staying hopeful, doing whatever it takes. Everything is, that is our part, but the ultimate partner with us in conceiving is the one above. And you know, it's not, I don't know too much about this, about, you know, infertility. I don't know much about it. It's not my field, even though I work in medicine, it's not my field. But from what I heard, um, not that you've been through it, like I'm saying, this is just a side part. Maybe you know about it because this is what I learned. You know, many people, when they go through infertility, they do go through IVF and other procedures. And it's a
Right.
very, very difficult journey from the things that I've learned. And people
Mm-hmm.
gain a lot of weight from it. It's not so simple. And, you know, the hardest part is the hormonal changes that come with it. It's a very, very expensive procedure. The hardest part is also the judgment from people. When people see somebody gained weight, they don't realize that when people gain weight from these procedures, it's part of the process. It's all hormonal. And then if you ask people, someone, oh, are you pregnant? You see, we're not sensitive. This is my thought process
100%.
about asking someone if they are pregnant. Believe me, when someone is pregnant, eventually, within the 9 months, we're going to see that they're pregnant. It's not hiding. It's not going anywhere. Eventually, news will be out there that someone is pregnant. It is so insensitive when people, and I mean, I've gone through this. I mean, I'm not the skinniest person, and I've always struggled with the belly because all my fat goes to my belly. And like I was told in the past, like, oh my God, are you pregnant? And we're so not sensitive to that question. Like, please,
Mm-hmm.
we have to really be careful when we ask such a question because let's say someone is not pregnant. First of all, it's embarrassing because they'll be like, oh my God, am I so fat? Oh my God, what's wrong with me? And people feel very uncomfortable, especially those that are struggling, that can't get pregnant. So, as a community, as a whole, when couples get married, yes, we're nervous as parents. Yes, we want the best for our children. We want them to conceive, but be patient. Give them space, give them time. The more pressure you're putting on these young individuals to conceive, the harder you're making it for them. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm. 100%. I think in order to, conceive, you need to be calm. You need to be, you need to be calm. You need to be at peace, peace of mind. Then your body's at peace. You're not tensed up. You're not triggered by anything. You feel like you're calm, and that plays a big role in being, to conceive. I think that, it's a never-ending question. It's like, oh, are you pregnant? Oh, okay, you had a girl. Okay, now it's time for a boy. Now this
Mm.
needs,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
this, and then that, and then da-da-da. It's not gonna stop, It literally does not stop. And it's like, guys, just take a second, like, take a step back and be like, do I really need this information? Is she pregnant, not pregnant? Is she, what's her story? It's information that not really, it's not relevant to you. Don't ask, If it was relevant for you, I'm sure you would know. You know what I mean? Like the time will come, you will know. But to ask,
Absolutely.
and then the worst of it all for me personally was when I finally, Baruch Hashem, got pregnant. Now I hear rumors. Oh, she did IVF. Oh, she did IUI. Oh, они в Ливане сделали. Они то сделали. And I used to be like, do you care? Like, what do you care how I got pregnant? Did you want to come
Right.
to like my, like, what did you want to do
You have birth?
exactly?
Should we tell you the
Um,
process? I mean, come on.
it's
It's
just like
like it
irrelevant
comes back.
questions. It's none of your business, Like,
Yeah,
Mazel
people
tov,
are
b'sha
sensitive,
tova,
guys.
b'sha tova. That's it.
Exactly. We have to be so much more sensitive in general. Like some things are just crossing the line. There are some things that people are allowed to keep private. You see, the reason people also don't share too much information with others is because they know the judgment out there. They know how people judge. It's almost like, oh, это дети ненатуральные. You know, especially, it's interesting. I was having a conversation with someone before the show. It was like I was a little bit upset, to be completely honest, because I was having a conversation with someone who was having a medical situation, and I was giving this person real medical advice, and the person was arguing back and forth about how their problem is not what I'm telling them it is. Not that I'm saying I know all the answers. And I was upset because I was telling this person, sometimes we have to trust medicine. Sometimes we have to trust the process. And the worst thing is when people are not familiar with medicine and with the interventions and with all the situations that go on, and they start to act and practice as medical professionals, giving wrong advice, making wrong assumptions, putting out rumors out there, it only makes the situation so much worse because you're
Mm-hmm.
not even qualified to make that judgment call and say, this is not natural, I mean, naturally, it's artificial. Like, you are not a medical provider. You have no knowledge about medicine. You don't even know what it is to be infertile. And when people are starting to give their 2 cents, that's the worst thing. I'm
Yeah.
going to actually read some comments, and I just remembered something while on the live, which I think is another very important topic. We didn't go over this, but I just remembered it's super important. I'm going to bring it up in 1 second. But let me quickly, before the comments disappear on me, because they are going to go further out, let me
Mm-hmm.
try to read some of the comments. Hold on 1 second. And then I want to
Yeah,
reach
I
another
see
very
them also.
important. Okay.
Yeah.
So it says here, yes, Tzipi, Sveta, 100%. Abigail, I hate it when the older generation doesn't see anything wrong with these questions. Don't ask these questions. Leah says that's true. Tzipora, especially after giving birth, when people tell you, oh, you gained so much weight. Right, as if I don't know that. 100% true as well. That is,
100%.
that is like, oh my
Yeah.
God, yes, thank you for the obvious. I know I gain weight. So
Mm-hmm.
true. That's 100% true. Very insensitive. And so, by the way, if somebody gained weight, yes, I understand we can be shocked that she went from a size 2 to a size 12. But at the end of the day, that is between her and herself, and also her spouse. Not every husband is bothered by his wife gaining weight. If it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
bother him or her, it shouldn't bother any of us. I agree 100%. So, so wrong.
But
Rachel says,
even if it does bother her, and you're asking, you're putting salt on her wound, she
right,
knows she gained weight. Okay, Baruch Hashem,
exactly,
she brought a healthy child to this world. It's a big job to do
exactly,
that. It's a huge
exactly,
job. You brought a human into this world. Like, what did you want me to, you know what I'm saying? Like, what did you expect?
right. Elizabeth says, yes, people need to mind their business. It's not like, I don't hear you. I think you're talking. I don't hear what you said the last one, but it says here, yes, people need to mind their business. It's not like other people being pregnant has an impact on their personal life. 100% agree with that. There's a lot of curious Georges. Yes. As David Guyon says, the more people ask and talk about it, the more negativity they put on the couple. How do you answer someone dealing with infertility if she asks if you're expecting and you're still within 3 months span? So Julie, how do I answer? And I'm going to let Osnat answer that as well. I feel like if you're still early and you want to keep it private, you just have to say one day, Bezrat Hashem, you don't have to give an answer because people are worried of Ain Hara, of anything can happen in the 3 months. So I think if you feel like you want to keep it private, you can say, Bezrat Hashem, you don't have to give them a yes or no answer and just keep it at that. What do you think, Osnat? How would you answer?
Yeah, I agree with that. I know some people that used to say like a straight out no. I wouldn't do that just because, that makes me nervous. I don't know. I wouldn't say yes, I wouldn't say no, but I would just say like, Baruch Hashem, Bezrat Hashem, at the right time, we're gonna hear good news, B'sorot Tova. That's
Exactly.
actually, my sister-in-law taught me that. She would say that she had a similar situation with a family member of hers. And every time people used to ask, and she knew that that person is pregnant and she didn't want to give it out, she would just say, "B'sorot tovot, b'sorot tovot." Like, just that was her answer to all of it. And that was something I learned from her was that, like, she wouldn't say yes, she wouldn't say no. She just said, like, good news, B'ezrat Hashem, we should hear good news, and that's it. And,
Right.
the way that people interpret it is already on them. But you didn't say yeah and you didn't say no.
Right. Rachel says someone literally had the audacity to ask me the other day if I was pregnant or it's after literally 5 months postpartum. Pasta, people have no filter. Right, Rachel, I agree. It's really, really,
Yeah.
especially if you just had a baby, like give them a break. Give them 1 year at least to come back to themselves. So many people are nursing. So many people are still going through this hormonal change. It is very, very insensitive. I agree. Now, I want to quickly, because we are running out of time, I'm going to switch the topic quickly. It's very
Hmm.
similar, but I think this is another important point to discuss. Maybe nowadays it's not as bad, but from my personal experience, this is something I personally dealt with. I hope nobody else had to deal with what I personally had to deal with. And it could be that 20 years later, okay, B'ezrat Hashem, my son is turning 20 tomorrow. So 20 years later, I hope that we're not dealing with this issue anymore, but something tells me maybe we still are. This is the issue I had. So I had a few miscarriages. So yes, I understand those who deal with miscarriages. That's also a whole other topic, very difficult. But one thing that I dealt with is the stigma that if a woman, okay, it's only in certain cultures, this is not for everybody, in certain cultures, old-fashioned mentalities, if a woman does not give birth on her own and she
Naturally.
has a C-section, something's wrong with it, потому что мы же
Hmm.
все сами рожали, as they tell us, right? Мы
Yeah,
же все
yeah, yeah,
сами
yeah.
рожали. Почему ты сама не могла родить? Но let me be very clear that this is very sensitive to me. It used to be very sensitive. Now, Baruch Hashem, I have healed. It was traumatic for me. When I gave birth to my first child, tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem, it's 20 years on October 28th, had my
Happy
first
birthday
child.
to him. Lots and
Yes,
lots of health till
thank
120.
you.
B'ezrat Hashem.
Yes, thank you. You made me a mommy 20 years ago, thank God. And I remember I was already 10 days overdue and I had a very difficult, labor process, and I gave birth via C-section. And nobody in my family, not my sister, not my sister-in-laws, nobody gave birth via C-section. Now, it was really bad because who wants to go through surgery? The worst part of it was when I had a family member come to me and tell me, don't tell anyone you had a C-section. Don't tell it to anyone because it's very embarrassing. Just keep it to yourself and act like you had a natural delivery. And believe it or not, I was 18, 19, very young. And I really believed that, oh my God, am I really not allowed to tell anyone that I had a C-section? Is something wrong with me? And also, let me tell you, it wasn't just a C-section. It was a painful C-section. The doctor used like staples and crazy things. It wasn't like stitches
Wow.
that I had over my other kids. It was the most painful scar you can imagine. I'm suffering here in so much pain, walking down the hallway, and there were actually another family member who had a baby the same day across from me, and they had a natural delivery and I had a C-section. But because I was told not to tell anyone that I had a C-section, I walked around with pain and oxycodone and morphine or whatever they gave me because I'm in so much pain, pretending that I had normal delivery. Now, can you imagine? I'm in pain. People are coming to visit me. It's so hard for me to even get up because I am in scar tissue, but I had to pretend to the
Ay,
world
ay.
that I had a natural delivery. Then came my second child, and now it was another C-section. But guess what? Everybody in the family, people in the family believed genuinely, cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone, except the very close immediate family, that I had normal delivery, quote unquote. Now, my second C-section was now believed to have been my first C-section. Nobody knew this is my second. And it was the reason I'm sharing it. It was so difficult for me. You know how they arrange like food, when somebody gives birth, people arrange like food, right? Like they make a
Hmm.
chain. Who wants to cook for
Yes.
this person? Should
Meal
we bring
train or
food? Should we
something.
arrange a meal train? Nobody arranged no
Hmm.
meal train for me. Nobody arranged nothing for me because people didn't even know that I'm having C-sections, that I'm suffering, that I'm in pain, that it's not easy. Comes to C-section number 4, where I finally began to accept that there is nothing wrong with a woman who has to give birth via C-section. Now, it wasn't easy. I used to cry every pregnancy. Hashem, why?
Why did you make me have C-sections? Why am I different than everybody in my family? Why can I not have as many children? Because with C-sections, we're so limited. I remember how embarrassed I was because I felt like maybe something is wrong with me. Everybody else is giving birth naturally. I'm giving birth C-section after C-section after C-section. And then I realized, you know what? Who cares how we give birth? At the end of the day, it's not the process of how the child comes out. It's a
Mm-hmm.
child. It's a healthy child. You're a healthy mother. And that's all that matters. So when we put this guilt on those children, on those women who cannot give birth naturally, we don't
Mm-hmm.
realize who wants to go through surgery? Who wants to do it? And you know, the audacity that some people told me to my face, not one, few close relatives would tell me, what do you know about giving birth? What do you know about giving birth? What, you had natural deliveries like us? You know what it is to have childbirth? You don't even know what it is. Well, it's easy for you. They come, cut you up, take out the baby, and that's it. It's easy. And I'm thinking to myself, easy? Easy? You're getting cut deeply. You're healing. You have a scar for the rest of your life. And I don't know what it means to give birth. The insensitivity that people can talk and say, what do you know about giving birth? Oh, anyone who had a C-section, they know how painful it is to give birth. If only people knew how difficult it is to have a C-section. People think it's so easy. You go there, you don't have to push, the baby comes out. No, 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 no. You're in an operating room. You're exposed. You're out there thinking, hey, this is not the way it's supposed to be. There's ding, 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 lights, you know, like blankets. Your husband is there in the back of you, worried about, oh my God, what's happening there? It's a very
100%.
dangerous procedure. And yet some people will come to you and say, what do you know about giving birth? You had natural deliveries, you had C-sections. It was easy for you. It's not easy. It's not easy. It
I
is what
can't
it
even
is.
imagine. Honestly, I
Yeah,
can't even imagine.
people are not sensitive about what they say, how they say it, and it makes the process so much more difficult. And we should never judge anybody that has to make those medical decisions. And you know, especially if the doctor tells you you need a C-section, your baby's heart rate is dropping. And somebody there can say, не слушай его, он ничего не знает, они просто хотят сделать операцию, чтобы торопиться. Again, anything is possible. Maybe, I mean, I hope not. Maybe there are doctors who are crazy like that just to do a C-section for the sake of it. But let's say it's
Yeah.
true. Let's say there is a real problem with the child. And you're sitting there in the back of this woman giving her this guilt trip that no, it's not true. Don't believe it. It's all fake. We got to stop putting unnecessary pressure. And by the way, how do I know this? Let me tell you how I know this. Because with my daughter, when I had my first C-section, my daughter was again late, and again my water broke, and here I was in my head, there is no way in the world I'm going to let this doctor do a C-section because I had a first C-section. Maybe the doctor rushed me into it. I'm going to be a fighter. There's no way I'm not having another C-section. And my doctor told me, if you don't have this child out and you broke your water an X amount of hours, you're going to get infected. Not only are you going to get infected, your child is going to get infected. And you know what, Asna? I don't believe her. I said, nope, I'm taking a chance. I'm going to take it on my account. This is my chance. I'm consenting for this. I'm going to wait more hours than when you recommend because I'm going to give birth naturally. And guess what? I didn't listen to her. I got to a point where I started spiking fevers because my body is now going through trauma. Too many hours are passing. I'm in a lot of pain. Labor is not going anywhere. I had high fevers. They end up taking me to the operating room with a fever, and my daughter ends up getting infected. I end up getting infected. Lo and behold, she was in ICU for 10 days because I ended up getting infected because I was fighting the doctors. So, lesson of the day, whichever way we have children, however long it takes to have beautiful children, no one should ever make a mother feel guilty over how she has a child, what she has to do in order to become a mother. It's already stressful. And to hear outside noise, it just is really unfair. And we really need to step back unless we're giving people good advice, healthy advice, or no advice at all. Just support. Just a message of, I'm here for you.
Yes.
I'm here for you. This is all what we need to do. All right.
Yeah.
I know that was a lot. What do you want to say?
I want to say that I do remember those times. I may have been younger, but I do remember those times of people saying like, so and so родила, как родила, сама родила, и кейс родила. That was like the number one question that people used to ask. And when you would say like кейс родила, и би вечера не смогла сама родить, like
Right.
that's what you would get. And it's like, чего вечера, like, Baruch Hashem, ребенок, like mama style. There's like people out here that are dying to have kids. And okay, she had a kid this way. It's okay. You know what I mean? And I know another girl, she, put up here, breastfeeding is another topic that people
Mm,
judge you on.
yes.
Кормишь, не кормишь, и би не дай бог, ты формулу как? Like, it's like
Mm-hmm.
whatever is good for me and for my family and for my baby, you know what I mean? Like, is good for us. And another girl brought up another thing that I read. It's also very, very smart because many times, like, I remember when people used to say hurtful things to me and I would share it to my mom. My mom used to say, Asa, I know the negi they do it, like without knowing they're doing it. Like, like some people that are not educated, they didn't go to university, they didn't, finish school, they don't know, better. So that's why they do these things. So one girl said, like, people need to educate themselves before judging others, before asking, before getting in there and, whatever it is.
Here's
So
another very
educating
important
yourself.
point. Absolutely, Osnat. Here's another very, very important point. The Busy Mom Diary writes, or some people even say it about getting the epidural. Oh my God. Another very important point.
EB, that's another
If
thing.
someone wants to get an epidural because they simply don't want pain, ladies, some of us don't want to be in pain. We want epidural. It's out there. Why
Yep.
should we be judged that we got an epidural? I'm all
Mm-hmm.
for epidural. You want the epidural? Go ahead. It's like someone telling me, so somebody was asking me, is it okay for me to take Tylenol? Oh my God, I have such a headache. I don't know if I should take it or not. And I'm like, listen, you're in severe pain right now. You're not feeling well. And there's something out there that can alleviate it for the time being. You're not taking it every day. Why are you struggling? Drink some water, and if you have to take it, take it. It's like the same thing. It's painful to give birth already. If you're able to use the epidural, if that's your choice, nobody says you have to. Nobody has the right to judge anyone who decides to take the epidural. Such a great point. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. It's very upsetting. We're not helping anybody with this kind of information. And I know that
Absolutely.
also sometimes it's hard, like when you do go to Brit Milas and when you go to, those, family places and you say like Bezrat Hashem by you, Bezrat Hashem by you, and you feel like the odd one there and you feel the weird one there and you feel like, oh my God, everyone's staring at me. Why am I even here? Like, try not to do it. Just try your best not to do that. I know you mean well. I know you mean it from a good heart. But just don't make that person feel bad about themselves, like that they're already at a Brit Mila, they're already here, and you're adding more to the pain and the heartache. It's just extra things that you're putting onto this person. If you mean well, pray for them right at that moment. Like, you don't have to come over to them and say, Bezrat Hashem by you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bezrat Hashem by her. Just speak to Hashem. Hashem is there. He hears you. I always say, pray for her,
100%.
be there for her, pray for someone else. They say when you pray for someone else, your prayers get answered. I'm such a believer of that. I
It's
prayed
so
for
true.
all my friends, and Baruch Hashem, almost not all, like all my friends, Baruch Hashem, that I knew that were going through the same challenge, except one, which till today I'm in so much pain for her. They all conceive and they all have children, Baruch Hashem. And it's a hard topic, guys. It's a very hard topic. It's not an easy topic to go through. I do also want to share, I have an amazing, amazing infertility specialist. She's here in our community. She's
Okay.
amazing. When I mean amazing, I mean it. She's an Indian lady, but she knows all our halachos. She knows everything, even better than me. Like she's so good. And she's very cheap. She's not here for the money. I mean, it's not an ad because I don't get anything for this, but I really, truly, I swear by her. If I could, I would. I know a lot of girls in our community that went to her, and
Wow.
she has success rates. She has high success rates. She's very, very firm. She's very strict, she's very on top of her game. She's very time, she has time management, like, because everything is so timed when it comes to these things. So she's very good and very amazing. So if anybody is, going through it and need any kind of information, please DM me. I'm very open, about helping people, about being there for people, supporting, and things like that. But I do again want to touch on men, mother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, brother-in-laws, sisters, even, just be a listening ear, be a support. One
Right.
thing I know that I did was when my husband's side of the family had a kid party and I had to go. And you have to go with the kids. So like, they don't know, should we invite us not? Should we not? It's a kids party. Should she come? So like it would
Wow.
become iffy. So what I would do to make them feel not all this, iffiness, I used to just be like, I'm coming and I'm taking my nephew or my niece, and I would take a
Wow.
niece from my side of the family. So if it was my side of the family birthday, I would take my husband's side of the family niece or nephew and go to the birthday. So
Wow.
I just, I made things easier for my family around. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't like, like heavy. I'm not this type of person. So if you're going through it too, it's hard, I know, but try also to put yourself in those people's shoes. Don't make
Right.
it hard on them. Don't make it like,
Mm.
should we invite her? Should we tell her? Should we not? How's she gonna take it? Is she gonna burst out in tears? Like, it's a difficult thing, yeah, but find that person that can understand you, that can be there for you, that can support you. But when it comes to like family and it comes to other people, try not to make it hard for them too, alleviate it for them as well, because they also don't know how to handle it. They're also in that kind of place where like, we don't want to hurt you, we don't want to diss you, but at the same
Right.
time,
It's like
what should
somebody
we
just
do,
got married. It's like a sibling that just got married and you can't have kids for like 8 years and they got pregnant right away. And they also don't feel
Hmm.
comfortable. Like, how is this news going to sit well with you? They're
Right.
may asking you because you're struggling for so many years and here they just conceived. So you're right, Osnight. It's hard for everybody. It's hard for those people that don't conceive and even
Yes.
hard for those that conceive because they feel so bad that their good news may be even more upsetting for somebody that can't have this special miracle happen to them. I agree with you. You're right.
Yeah. So
I'm
no,
going
I
to.
think being happy for others, and thanking Hashem that, Baruch Hashem, my sister doesn't have to go through it. But like that's how I used to think. I used to think like Baruch Hashem, that friend didn't have to go through this, or this friend, she probably wouldn't be able to handle it. I'm strong enough to handle it. I used to think like everything that like every challenge that a person's going through, I believe like it's orchestrated for them, So it wasn't a thought that ever dawned on me like, why her and not me? Or why him and not me? Like, what the hell? Like, there's no connection. Like, that person has a baby, Baruch Hashem, like, and that's it, like, I wouldn't think of those, things. And it's hard. It's very hard. And I know, but try to train, yourselves to really believe that Hashem runs the world and that there are people out there that can help you, that can support you. It's not far-fetched. And, it's very important not to blame especially in-laws. I know like mother-in-law is gonna call the other mother-in-law and they're like, maybe go check your daughter out or maybe go check your son out or something. And then they become like very, like everything just becomes ugly between them and like they're blaming each other. And what are you doing? You're putting more pressure on your kids. Now, husband and wife are thinking, why'd your mom call my mom? What is it their business? Tell your mom to stay out of it. And it just gets so dirty and ugly. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, you're making things worse. And that was that girl that called me. She's like, Asta, you don't understand. She's like, my mother-in-law, like, embarrassed me with my mom, and she cannot look at them now. Like, what did you do? What did you gain out of all that? Like, I really don't
Yep.
know what these in-laws are thinking, what they're doing. Like, I don't know. But if you're a mother-in-law or you're a father-in-law and you see that your children are going through this, you can pray for them, you know, go to your daughter-in-law and say, like, how can I support you? I see that you're going through this
Absolutely.
challenge. I love you. I accept you for who you are, and say, what could we do to help or to support you? And the girl will tell you, I was very open about it. I said how I felt. I also like told people how I like to be dealt with. You get what I mean? I'm
Good.
this type of
Good.
person
You're
that
very
be
strong.
straight out, be straight out with me. Other girls will say, if you have it, hide it from me. I can't handle it. Every girl should, express how she feels when she's going through this challenge. Help other people help you, is what I want to say, because we don't know what's going on in your head. We don't know how you like to be dealt with. So be open about it and say, listen, don't talk behind my back. You have any questions, you have any concerns, come to me, we'll deal with it, Or like, this is how I dealt with it personally. Um, every time I would hear a friend that did conceive, I always send her a message and saying, listen, Baruch Hashem, you conceived. I'm happy for you. I prayed for
Mhm.
you too, Hashem answered
Very,
my prayers through you. So I know he's listening to me.
very
He's listening to me because I know he's answering me. He's answering me with my other prayers, So I would always
gorgeous.
message them. And when I got pregnant, it was also very hard for me, but like, I don't know if it was the right thing or the wrong thing, but I would reach out to those girls that I knew that were praying for me and I was praying for them. And, we were going through infertility together. I called that friend up and I said, listen, I don't want you to hear it from somebody else and I'm not going to hide it from you. I am expecting, and I do want to
Wow.
tell you this myself. I don't want
That's
you to
so
hear it
nice.
from somebody else.
That's
I
special.
would call
That's
those
special.
girls and I would tell them that. And I would tell them everything I
Because you
did that
knew they were
helped
praying
me.
for you. You knew they were praying
Yeah,
for you. Yeah,
yeah.
that's very
So
special.
I was very much open about it and didn't want anybody to feel bad. And it's like when I used to hear it like that, it used to really hurt me. I used to be like, we went through so much together. We prayed for each other. We're there for each other. And now you're gonna just be pregnant. That's 8, 9 months. And I'm hearing it from random people. Like, why didn't you tell me?
Hear
I'll be
that.
happy for you.
I hear
Like
that. I
that's how
hear
I
that.
always felt.
Very nice. Also,
Um,
I'm going to read some of the comments right now because we do have to wrap up. So I'm going to
yeah,
quickly
so
read the
I'm reading
comments.
them, yeah.
If anyone wants to add something before we log off, I want to answer Xia 123. The problem with the type, I'm not sure if that meant a problem with Tylenol for not for a headache, is people feel better and neglect the underlying reason for a headache. Well, that's 100% that's why I'm reading this first. You're 100% right, Cassia. We should never suppress. I used it as an example, but yes, we should always go under, like if you have a headache, I used it as an example, and yes, I have to clarify. Always find out why you have a headache. Don't take Tylenol and not get checked out. 100%. I was using it as an example because a lot of people complain of migraines, PMS headaches, and they have other stress headaches, and sometimes you just take a little Tylenol once
Yeah.
in a blue moon and you're better. And I was saying, just like we don't have this misconception that if somebody takes Tylenol for a headache or for a finger cut or for a leg pain, we don't judge them for it. So why do we judge people if they feel the need to take an epidural for labor pain? So that was the reason I used that as an example, not for any way to say that we don't have to get checked for our underlying condition. And then she continues saying symptoms are our body's way to communicate our needs. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
pain, contractions, absolutely. It's our way of communicating our needs. Some people enjoy the contractions. They feel like epidural may slow down the progression of labor. They want to get a doula and they want to do the breathing exercises and give birth in water. I mean, all that is great, but not everyone has this idea of doing all that. Not everyone is like, all right, I'm giving birth at home. I'm not going
Oh
to the
my.
hospital. If that works for you and you want to give birth at home and it works, people do it. I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm not saying I agree with it. That's another show. But if that works for you, great. You do you. But if somebody else chooses not to do you, they want to do themselves, they want to be doing who they are, and they feel comfortable with it, let's not judge them. Let's allow people to
Yeah.
make decisions that fit for them, unless it's dangerous. If it's a dangerous decision, and you know for 100% fact that this is life threatening, because some people don't make good decisions, unfortunately, yes, intervene.
Yeah.
Do whatever you can to help the situation. But if this is a matter of opinion that you would not have done it this way, you would have breastfeed till the child is 4. Somebody else doesn't want to breastfeed their child till they're 4. They want to breastfeed their child till they're 4 days or 4 weeks. Let them do what's good for them. That's what I would say. The next comment. Someone will have something negative to say regardless, whichever choice you make. Exactly, Sasanika.
100%.
That is 100% right. That's exactly why I said let people do what they think is right. Just like if you have surgery and you need a strong pain medication, why shouldn't you take pain medication such as epidural? Exactly. If you
100%.
and your doctor made together, you both decided that this is okay for you, nobody should be judging you. That's my whole point. Let people do what works for them, because all this extra, talk and all that, it's not necessary. It makes it
Mm-hmm.
so much harder. Anything else? Speaking of Brits, what about the toxic thinking of parents or girls who are parents of girls who are missing out on something? So I'm not sure if I'm reading this right, but let me tell you how I think she's mentioning this question.
Genders.
Those
Yeah.
those that have only girls, they cannot have a boy. They don't have a boy.
Mm.
They have the stigma that, where's the "когда будет мальчик," where's the brit? I want the sandak. And again, comes back to this is God's plan. This is what He gave them. It's already hard enough. We're adding more pressure by thinking if this girl or this man doesn't have a son, then he's not a man. Where's the boy? And it's so unfair because there are parents that only have girls. They have 6, 7 girls. They cannot have a boy or vice versa. So it makes it so much harder. And we have to keep reminding these individuals, you have healthy children, thank God. And it brings me to something else. Even those that don't have healthy children, there are people that don't have healthy children. They have disabled children. They have autistic children. They have other type of children. And when that's another show, but just quickly, what about when we put pressure on them? Like, oh, у тебя больной ребенок, ой, бечоре, у нас никого
Oh
не было в
my God.
работе, такой больной ребенок. And then somebody
Yeah.
else will add 2 cents and say, у них больной ребенок, потому что они родственники. How do you know this to be 100% true? Why? Why are we doing this to people? It's already hard enough. And now we're speculating and adding our 2 cents and putting all this pressure. Or how about when I went to an event and the mother of the girl loudly, in front of everybody, says, she has a disabled child, that she says to the audience, я вам всем желаю, чтобы у вас больные дети не рождались. How hurtful that must be for the girl who has a disabled child to hear her mother say to everybody, I wish all of you that you don't have a sick child. That's true. We should wish that. But do we not think this is going to be hurtful for the parent of the disabled child who's listening to her mother share this with everyone? It's so very, and I was so hurt for her. I was like, oh my God, this must be so painful to listen to because it hurt.
Sensitivity.
It
Yeah,
hurt
it all
me.
goes back down to being sensitive,
It hurt
100%.
me
And
so much for her.
yeah,
Let me
yeah, it's a very sensitive thing that a lot of people lack, it's I don't know. It's like if it's gonna do good, say it, but if not, not. And um, I know I had like a family member that I can remember now was very much saying like, if you need me, I'm here, like if you need me, I'm here. That was like always what she told me. Never like asked questions, never like never intruded, never nothing. Like always like if you need me, I'm here. And I really appreciated that in her, like it's a hard topic to, to grasp and stuff like that. But if you're needed, be there for the person. But if you're not, then don't put your 2 cents in, don't ask, don't nothing. And it comes to, like I'm saying, epidurals, infertility, how you got pregnant, how you stayed pregnant, what did you do, what did you not do? It's none of nobody's business. All I suggest you guys, to do is pray, Baruch Hashem. Like my mother-in-law used to also say that, Baruch Hashem, Hashem gave it to you. B'ezrat Hashem, you should keep it till 9 months, like whatever they say it in Bukharian, but she used to always just bless me. That was like one thing that I really appreciated in her was her blessings always. Like when she found that I was pregnant, she just always said like, Ana Baruch Hashem, like you should go 9 months and you should like have a child, and come out of the hospital with, full hands. And
Beautiful.
that to me, I really learned my lesson the hard way when it came to that. Also, boys, like the gender right now, like if we can just quickly touch on it, it's so important. And I learned it again the very hard way, important to say bari ushalem, like a child that's healthy and whole. That's what I need. Whether it's a girl or a boy, that should not matter. Hashem, you know what I need right now, and I will take what I can get. And I want to share
Absolutely.
something quickly. When I had my
Yeah,
first daughter, but
go
then
ahead.
I got pregnant, the second time very quickly and naturally on my own. And well, with my daughter also, it wasn't like it wasn't IUI or IVF or anything of that sort. But with my second daughter, I got pregnant fast, and I was, shocked that I'm pregnant, so quickly, because I always thought that I can't get pregnant on my own or whatever else people thought and drilled in my little brain, but Hashem is almighty. And because I was, I had a lot of complications with my daughter. She was a preemie. I had her early, complications and complications. I was so nervous that this should be a boy. And again, it was all society. It wasn't even my in-laws or my husband. My husband said, whatever I get, thank you, Hashem. Like he wasn't pressuring of gender at all. And my in-laws
Mm,
also, my mother-in-law always says, like, girl, boy, mishuba, baruch haba. Like whoever comes, we're
well
happy for them,
done.
I was pressuring myself, boy, 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 and when I found that it was a girl, I was upset. I'm not gonna lie. I was upset about it. And it was stupid of me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have two girls. Now I have to try again for another boy. And again, all these complications. And again, all these this and that. And it was just like upsetting me. And I didn't think like, Asna, you're being unthankful. Like I don't know what was in my brain then,
Mm,
and it was a mistake. It was a huge mistake. And, Baruch Hashem, I was pregnant, I think like 7 months. And Hashem took her away from me. He said, listen, I'm giving you a
mm,
present. You don't want
mm,
it. Don't have it. I'll
mm,
take it back. No problem. And
mm.
we have to be very mindful, very mindful. And from then on, I
I know you
always
went
tell
through
every
that.
girl that's pregnant, it does not matter what the gender is, as long as it's
Mm,
healthy and you come out of the hospital with your hands full with a healthy child in your hand alive, that's all that matters. It's
that's
not
so
boy,
true.
it's not girl, it does not matter what it is. In the end of the day, you're a mother, you came to this world being a mom, and Hashem fulfill that in you, that's all you need. And that was one thing that I used to pray for
Yeah.
from Hashem. I said, Hashem, you made me a woman, and please allow me to do what I'm supposed to do in this world as being a woman, help my husband
That's not,
fulfill
we could talk all night. This is a great
yeah.
topic. I love it. I think we need a part two. I mean, that
Yeah.
story right now, wow, wow. That was
So be
fact-ending, very
very
powerful.
mindful. Yeah, definitely very, very mindful of, what we
Um,
say, how we say it, because Hashem is watching us. Be thankful for everything,
I'm gonna
because in
read,
a second it could be
absolutely.
gone.
I'm going to read the rest of the comments. Again, I'm only just pressured on time. My husband is like literally next to me. I have to wrap up, trying to go to bed. But I want to make sure we
No
get to see
problem.
everybody's comments because otherwise this is going to be deleted
The
after the
busy
show. And
mommy, the busy
I
mommy
don't want it to
diary. I
be.
just want to read her comment over here. It says, I had some family call me on no shoot for giving birth with the epidural. And then
Mm,
when other family members would give birth without, they start raving about them, how amazing they gave birth without an epidural. I am
yep,
so sorry that you had to be called that because you are not that. You are a strong, brave mommy.
exactly. And look, she also wrote here, the busy mommy.
Wow.
I was going in order. I don't want to miss anybody. She wrote, what
Mhm.
about in religious circles where people have kids, but then have a hard time having another few kids and the pressure of people saying, why are you stopping to have kids? Very annoying. Very exactly. See, like you don't know what everybody's situation is. What if they can't conceive, or what if they're limited because they had C-sections and they can't have so many kids? 100%
Hmm.
true. And then
Yeah,
Sasanika writes,
definitely.
and the pressure that it's most likely the woman's fault, but the men are very defensive about getting tested. Yes, Sasanika, we actually discussed this. Osnat actually brought it up in the beginning of this live, that men
Hmm.
have to want to get tested as well, because it's very unfair when all the pressure falls on the woman, especially when the woman is trying, she is going to doctors, but the man says, "Ничего со мной не стало," and he doesn't want to go to the doctor. Absolutely. Let's
A hundred
continue.
percent.
It's
Yeah.
the generational trauma that we have to break now with all the pressure and comments. She writes here, Elizabeth writes, Osnat, you have always been an inspiration to me. Молодец. Absolutely, Osnat, you're great. Sophia Rafael writes, hi, ladies, great topic. Can I have the infertility doctor info, please? Yes, you can message Osnat after the show privately, and
Definitely.
she will give you that information. Let's see here. Tipora Tipiyak writes, I'm never going to forget how the nurse told me not to take epidural, but who's
No,
going to
told
thank me
me
for
take
being,
the
oh,
epidural.
the nurse told me take the epidural. Who's going to thank you for being in pain? I love your nurse. Exactly. Back to what we said before. And then you
Yeah.
wrote the Busy Mom's diary. You read that one.
Hmm.
Tipiak also writes, yep, I have 3 girls and
Everyone who
everyone.
would make me feel bad for it, I would tell them I'm blessed. No need to pity me. Baruch Hashem, my kids are healthy, and I have kids. That's all I need. I'm blessed. It's a very good way of
Absolutely.
looking at it, Sephora.
Absolutely, Sephora. Let's see anything else. I feel like the older generation doesn't think before they speak because they're so experienced. And shaking my
Yeah.
head, not experienced enough with people's feelings, right?
Yep,
Very true.
100%.
Elizabeth Avezlov, I had a random uncle from the family tell me that I should be like his mother, who never had this epidural schmepidural. And I was fed up and asked for fatality rate of mothers and children from back then. Again, we're
Right.
not here. This again, if you don't want to take your epidural and you want to give birth naturally, so be it. Nobody's judging those that refuse to take epidural. If it works for you and you don't want to take a pain medication, listen, you're very brave. Don't. What we're saying is don't judge people who choose to do what works for them. Do not make nasty comments onto those people that had C-sections thinking you are, much greater and much more of a woman because you gave birth naturally. Don't go around asking people who can't get pregnant if they're pregnant, knowing maybe they're not, and make judgments on them. This is what we were saying. The whole live tonight was just Osnat and I discussing how we have to be sensitive to people, women, men, and their struggles. And then somebody writes here, Osnat, you're so brave. Angela Nisanov says, Osnat, you're so brave. Osnat, please DM me. Marina Mulayev, she said, Osnat, please DM me.
No
Melita writes,
problem.
I agree with everything you think and say. It's very important. Hashem is always listening and he's always there. What
Hmm.
else? I think we have
Yeah,
read
yeah,
all the comments. And with that,
yeah.
I will now conclude our show. Osnat, that was amazing. That was excellent. I think this show was so jam-packed. We almost didn't make it live again today with all this background noise that's going around in real life situations, right? We're all living a life. Osnat has
Hmm.
children. I have children. We have work. We have family. To be honest, it's not always easy, but I am so happy that we were able to do this live. I'm happy for all of you ladies that joined, for all you ladies that commented. If you find that this live will be helpful to someone else, please feel free to join. Please message me, just like Osnat, if you want to be on my next live, and you too have a very good topic that you think is worth talking about. Let me know. This is the topic that I want to discuss. If any of you here is listening, next show or any in the upcoming shows, I am looking for a woman that has a disabled child that is willing to have a live with me to discuss the pressure of being a mom of a disabled child. I have already been asked multiple times to speak about the pressures of a mother who has a disabled child. A, how to deal with it. B, how to deal with it for society and the judgments, and just how to have enough support. So if you are someone who has a disabled child and you are comfortable with coming out and sharing with everyone who's watching how someone can get through it, not to be embarrassed by what people think, please message me because I would love to go live with you to discuss this particular topic.
Is it a
Osnat,
physical disability or a mental disability?
either one, as long as it's a
Okay.
disability that's not like some disabilities are very mild and minimal, and it's not really like people are functional, fully functional. It's not
Mm-hmm.
out there, it's not obvious. So it's easier in a sense to deal with it. But there are some disabilities, like a child is Down syndrome, a child is spina bifida,
Autism.
cerebral palsy, wheelchair bound, whatever condition it is that's very out there. And I know personally people with such children, they're not going to come out on Facebook or social media. And I remember talking to a mother who has a child in a wheelchair, and I would tell her, "You want to go for a walk?" And in the beginning, before she came to accept that her child is never going to walk, she actually told me, "No, no, 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 no. I'm embarrassed that people are going to see my child in a wheelchair." The child at that point was like 2 or 3. Now the child is bigger. So I felt so bad for this mother. She couldn't even accept fully who her child was in the beginning because she was so embarrassed of what the world around her would think if she saw now this child in a wheelchair, because nobody at that time knew this child is disabled. She's not going to walk. So I know the pressure of the parents who have these children, and a lot of parents come to me and they tell me, please talk about it. And I don't want to be insensitive when I try to talk about it. You can't give advice to people when you never dealt with something like this. It becomes a little insensitive. So I want somebody who is able to share experience, who can give that support system and that strength, just like you, Osnat. You came out here tonight. You shared from your personal experience about what you went through, so you're qualified to talk about it. And that's why I want somebody to DM me if you're able to do it. Anyone else that has another topic in mind that wants to talk about something else, please message me. This was so cool. I loved it. I wish we can spend another hour talking about it. Don't forget to vote before I log off. I know David is watching. He just joined. So that reminded me. Don't forget to vote. Very important. Everybody's voice matters. We have to all, as a community, please go out there and vote. This election has never, ever been more important. I'm not a politician. I usually don't talk politics. But ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching, please make every effort possible to go out this, I think it's the Tuesday, next Tuesday. If you have early voting, go out and vote early. We have to all get together as a community and make our voices heard. We must vote. Osnat, one more minute. Please close off tonight's live. What would you like to say?
I want to say thank you to everyone that joined us. Thank you, Yocheved, for making this happen. I hope that I gave whoever was watching any kind of courage, any kind of support that you may have been going through. That's one point I want to make. My second point I want to make is I want to just reiterate why we did this is because, number one, do not go on to the blaming game. It's a dark, it's a dark hole that you're getting yourself into. You don't want to be there. Don't blame each other. Support one another. Be there for each other. Hold each other's hand. If need be, go to the doctor. Do your hishtadlis, like some people said. Be open to different things. If you do need to do the IUI, you do need to do the IVF. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's not embarrassing. This is your route and it's okay. Embrace it. Ask people for help. Be there. And for others that know that you're going through this, share your thoughts with them. Tell them how you want to be dealt with, how you want to be spoken to or around, what makes you comfortable, and things of that nature. And I do also want to say thank you to my support system that I had. my sisters, my parents, my in-laws, my husband, God bless him, I think that Hashem really sent him my way. And I hope that, those people that are going through this, um, have those husbands that are supportive, like my husband was. I think it's the most important part is support from your spouse. I promise you, if you don't have it, that's just, I can't even stress that. Support from your spouse is the number one key to success. And going through it together is most important. Like working together as opposed to working, against each other. And
Beautiful.
in-laws as well, be there for each other, help them, pray for them, bless them, keep blessing them, and supporting them, showing them that, in-laws are getting along. The kids are going to know that our parents are not thinking of us in a bad way or anything. They're not embarrassed. They're not going to get pressured. And when we feel pressured as women, it's hard to conceive. I remember the doctor always used to tell me, drink a cup of wine, relax, don't be tensed up, you know what I mean?
All
So
right.
that's very important, not to be tensed up and everything like that. So
Beautiful.
that's my, message is, have a support, and don't be silent. Don't be quiet about
Beautiful.
it.
Thank
Open,
you,
open
Hassan.
up, seek help, when
Thank you
needed.
so much. Beautiful words, beautiful ending. Thank you all for watching. Have a great night. Until next time. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You too. Bye bye.